Well, after 6 weeks and over 10,000 miles travelling through the Southern Ocean, this Greenpeace ship, the Esperanza, is now heading back to port in Australia. It followed the Japanese whaling fleet for 2 weeks, stopping it whale during that time, but in the end it just simply didn't have enough fuel to keep going. So now it's going back to port. I've got some of the emails that you've been sending in to the BBC website, and I'm joined by Sarah Holden, who's from Greenpeace. Sarah, the first email I've got is from Norm Caton, who's from Preston in Lancashire. Sarah, what's preventing Greenpeace's Esperanza from refuelling back in Australia, he says, and returning once again to Antarctica to continue with what he says is their admirable mission of making life difficult for the whalers? So why aren't you going back, Sarah?
Because we think now is the time to put political pressure in Japan. We've started that process in the Southern Ocean, and what we need to do is to concentrate our resources where we will be most effective in stopping whaling for the entire season every year and not just the rest of this season.
So is it a question of money, or you simply don't have the energy to go back?
It's neither a question of money nor energy. It's a question of where we think we will be most effective, and we believe that at this point, having generated this amount of pressure, we will be far more effective concentrating in Japan.
Lots of people have been emailing in about Japan's reason for killing nearly 1,000 whales this year. They say it's scientific research. This question's from Deborah Jones from Oxford. Can the Japanese explain to anyone exactly what their scientific research involves? What are they researching? Well, the best thing I can say to that, Deborah, is to look on the Japanese website of the Institute of Cetacean Research. They're the body which oversees this programme. Their website is www.icrwhale.org. But in a nutshell, what they say is that they're trying to assess the nature of the whale population in Antarctic waters, to try and look at the composition of the population, how many there are, with a view to potentially in the future restarting some form of sustainable whaling programme. Another question here from John Keksmar from Osaka in Japan. He says, are all the whales nearing extinction, or just some of them?
No, not all whales are nearing extinctions. There are certain populations that are nearing extinction. Some of the whales that they're targeting in the Southern Ocean are endangered species, though, such as fin whales. And they are very slow-growing creatures, and so that's one of the reasons why to try and claim that it's sustainable to hunt them simply doesn't stand up to scrutiny.
One of the stories of this year's anti-whaling campaign in the Southern Ocean has, of course, been the relationship between Greenpeace and the rival conservation group Sea Shepherd. There's a question here from Nikki Edwards in Kent. I received reports that the Sea Shepherd organisation tried in vain to cooperate with Greenpeace on a budget far less than Greenpeace's. They have, in my opinion, done far more than Greenpeace to highlight the plight of the whales. Why will Greenpeace not cooperate with Sea Shepherd?
We have a policy of non-violence, and non-violence is non-negotiable as far as Greenpeace is concerned. Sea Shepherd, we don't believe, has the same attitude towards the tactics that they use, and therefore that's why we don't work with them.
Okay, and the final question is from Iona Jefferson from Ledbury in England. It's a question to me. Is your real name Jonah Fisher? It cannot be true. Well, Iona, I'm afraid it is true. My parents obviously had a very good idea of what I'd be doing 29 years after I was born. So, from the Southern Ocean, it's back to you in the studio.